Okay, boys, let's begin. Okay, so first of all, what are we doing today? We're doing the Stanley Parable. Why am I doing this? I felt like some single player games. I've been doing a lot of multiplayer games, and I feel like some single player games. Because you see, when I do a team game, I have all these teammates that are making me lose, and it frustrates me. And when I do single player games, when I do one-on-one competitive games, I am making me lose, and that frustrates me too. So it's a great time to do a step towards pure gaming enjoyment in games that could not possibly be frustrating. Single player games, I want to have a nice contained experience that has a beginning and an end. Now, I don't know almost anything about this except that there's some secret about it. There's some revelations. So please help me and everyone else enjoy the game by not spoiling anything. You'll notice there's no chat on screen, so that's a little bit of a help as well to everybody. All right, cheers. Let's go. The Stanley Parable. I heard this game is good. Let's check it out. Have you played the Stanley Parable before? Oh, no. Oh. I lost already. I lost. The worst ending. Oh my god, that's my teammate's fault. Oh no. Please ask me again. Oh, thank god. No, I've not played before. Please enter the current time. What? That's a bit unusual. Why does it need to know my time? Does it want to know my country too? Surely not. Right now we are 10:49. Let me check the seconds on the clock as well. Oh, we're at 10:50 now. 8:50. Wait, 8:50. There we go. Done. All right. Almost lost another one. You are playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. They have a... Begin the game. Ever the end is never the end. Click to skip.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month.
It's like that TV show.
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And
Severance. Yeah, it's like Severance. He was happy. Nice.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Okay.
No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
Just stay and wait.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, this is me, I think. I think they just want me to walk out the office. Oh, yeah, error text. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'll remove it. There's been some API issues with some overlays today. I think Twitch alert. Yeah, there was Twitch alerts. So we're not getting Twitch alerts, which is actually really good because it means no alert spoilers too, and no distractions. So thanks in advance to everyone that subs today, and thank you retroactively to Dylan Kovac, Tapkunko, Vipaz, Quizia, Gingerak, Aoki87, Thanks, guys. Alright. We stepped out the office. Okay. We closed our door. Can I lower the sensitivity of the mouse? Lower the sensitivity. Increase the field of view so I don't get seasick. Alright. Better.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
He's it's so cute that he's commentating.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It's so cute that it's commentating all my moves in real time. Who farted? It's commentating my life. Recommendations from the Oversight Committee. No jumping, looks like. Yeah, I just changed it, Rui. I increased field of view. I wonder if it's too much. I'll try to move not in a jerky way. No jerkiness here. We saved that for Stellar Blade. I hate Mondays. Yeah, this game makes me feel like I chose a corporate life. This seems fun. I like the environment. You guys, some of you, you're lucky. I've got all this freedom, but Stanley knows exactly what he needs to do every day.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, he didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, perhaps so. This is so strange. There's nobody here. Hey, what time is it there? It's not the same time as my time. Then why did I give the time? 9 o'clock. It's 1 hour off. It is? No, look. Wait, did I forget how to read a clock? The small arm is at 10 o'clock. 10:56. But I chose 8:56. It's 2 hours off. The small arm is at 9. No, the small arm is at 10. Wait, no, the small arm is at 4. Right? There's an arm that has its butt towards 10 and its long part towards 4. No? It says 11:21, 9:56. What? I don't see any small arm at 9. Wait, I used to know, but this is a weird clock though, no? Look, you guys don't even know too.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Beautifully.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Did I? Okay. Can I get this? Wow.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
He's being sarcastic. Don't tell me what to do. Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, 1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, 5,000. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. It will cause death. Wait, if I die, I think it's gonna send me back to the start. I think that'll be fun. But then I can't claim that I won at once. Maybe that's like bragging rights.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
He's breaking the fourth wall.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Oh?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
It's getting a little emotionally manipulative now. Urgent. Employees should never under any circumstances attempt. Okay, I will only do, not attempt. He broke the fourth wall, talked about some lash. Possibly important to him or to me. Whoa! My god, what just happened? My game crashed. What the hell? Oh!
That's her, Stanley.
What?
You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay. Wait. What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Oh.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Okay.
I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Aw.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What?
Gotcha.
What the hell?
Oh, come on.
Yes!
Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Yes!
Who'd want to commit their life to you?
Yes.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
What the hell? This is weird.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What? Good morning, employee 427. Press L on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Oh, that's nice. Press J. I'm gonna press L again. Fuck you. Okay. I'll press every button except J. You're not the boss of me. Okay, it doesn't work.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Please press C. This is such an amazing voice. Oh my god. I can't even begin to describe. I'm sure you guys all think the same or knew this years ago. But what an amazing voice. The inflection, the accent, the demeanor. It's so good. Oh my god. So, it's crazy.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Aware. Press V to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press O to spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful
That's
to
too
behold.
fucking real, man. That is way too real. Oh my god. I am reminded of one of my origin stories. When I was 2 and 3 years old, apparently, and I remember this actually, not apparently, but I've also heard the stories. I fought with my mother almost every single day about what I was to wear to school. She would tell me what I would wear, what I would need to wear, and I would say, no, I don't want to wear that. It didn't matter what it was. I don't want to wear it. It would be a screaming fest, actually. We would both be screaming at each other. Sometimes I had to relent because I'm 2, 3 years old. And sometimes she said, well, then wear anything you want. And I did. I would wear poorly fitting clothes if that's what it took. I didn't want to wear what she said I should wear. Sometimes she said, then go to school naked for all I care. I did not do that. You did not go. You go to school at 2 years old? Oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense. 4 years then. It was 4 or 5 years old then. Yeah, I can't be 2. 4 or 5 years old. Kindergarten. You're right. Yeah, so she said, go to school naked then for all I care. And would walk away, storm out of the room. And then I thought about doing that. And eventually sometimes we would end up taking what she suggested. Because it had become so heated. And we kept arguing and fighting so many times per year. Until my kindergarten teacher helped my mother in a conversation where the kindergarten teacher said, Manuel is trying to exert some control over his life. It's not that much about the clothing, it's about feeling that his choices matter and that he has some control. How about giving him 2, to you, acceptable choices so that he can pick? 2 choices that could even be adjacent to each other, maybe not even matter that much. Do you want to wear these socks or those socks? But by giving him a choice, he can begin to feel comfortable making choices. She did that. We almost never thought about it again. Choices matter. Of course, yes, of course, little humans also want to make choices. Especially, I mean, anyone wants control over their environment. And I had very little because I was the youngest. The illusion of freedom was better. The illusion of choice. Well, it's really good. Like, I loved that kindergarten teacher, by the way. She was great. She was really great. And she helped me a lot. Partially with that.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
Ooh.
And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press K to tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Yeah, you're right, actually, K-Tax. It was not the illusion of choice. It was actually a choice. Even a small one mattered. You're right. Press J to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
That's too real, too. I'm reminded of World of Warcraft.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
Holy shit, stop.
But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, The next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Well, how long can I wait? Yeah. I think they're teaching me that I have no choice, and it's not even gonna condescend to give me the illusion of one or to give me a small one.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press Q to question nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose.
Wait, he has no choice
I'll try
to?
once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again.
What?
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
What the hell? What? It's a reset. Okay, guys. The small hand is this one or this one? $11:21. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not my local time. Understood. Then why did it ask me my time if it's not going to use it?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Wait, it's the same thing.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's the same thing. So, if I do everything the same, then I'll get sent back again. Maybe there'll be a progression in the story.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Is it
Stanley
gonna be
knew
the
it
same
perfectly
like this?
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
It's all
just
the
to
same.
admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm gonna jump off.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
$5K
Good
fine.
job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Hey, at least I proved myself to you guys, huh? I'm in control here. I'm in control.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
All right, I'm not in
Stanley
control
decided to
because
go
I'm
to the
still
meeting
stuck in
room.
this loop.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
All right, I'm going to the left door.
When Stanley came to a
But by
set
my
of 2
choice.
open doors, he entered the door.
Wow,
on his
you're so
left.
powerful. Yeah, I know.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tips for
Feeling
not
a
getting...
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
It's too blurry. I can't read this shit. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the header. Oh yeah, that's always good. Throw some bevel on all the text. Yes. Everybody is unique, you most of all. Aw, that's nice. Synergize core value expenditures. Shift global market per rate. Number of slides on this slide. Monetize free to play. Yes. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same. This is so meaningless. This is all meaningless. They're making fun. Please, no more charts. Please, I'm backing. Stop. On your boss appreciation minute worksheet, circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Can you guys do that with me as your streamer? If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee, like your self, but more inclined towards conflict and literally kind of, why did we hire you? What? No? Oh. What are your dreams for the future? Comatose. I saw that. What's mitosis? Talk less, do unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no expectation of promotion or recognition. No get fired. Are these typos on purpose? Cell differentiation. Cool. The powerhouse. Things, money, more money, things, but with money to buy more things. Graphs about things plus money. We have our new product. What do people want? Oh. People want happiness with a Y. Violet James, you're fired. People do not want happiness with a Y. What is hot? Target demographic, teenagers. The stock market is somewhere here. Colored in segment stripes. Requires more secondary research. Yeah, should there be stripes or not in a pie chart? What is hot? Profits. Charts need to be more hip to appeal to teenage demographic. I'm sure that's out there somewhere right now on a whiteboard. Unironically.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
be
upstairs to his boss's
hippiness.
office.
Oh, I can use right click to move too. That's nice. I actually didn't hear what he said. I think he said go up to the boss office. This is damn fancy. I once stayed in a place like this. Not like the size of it, but the red wallpaper. I was still living at home with my parents, and I had a girlfriend, and we went on a trip to China for one of my tournaments, and then we went to a room like this, and we were like, well, this is nice. Maybe we should one day move in together instead of always living with my parents. That was a good idea. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. That's true, actually. But will he see it that way? A good one will. Extreme bathrooms. Bath guy testifies on the trial of the century. Tired of getting ash on your porcelain? Faucets? They misspelled faucets. The C and the U are flipped. Faucets instead of faucets. Faucets, pipes, offshoots. Either the guy who made this has dyslexia, or they are deliberately pretending like someone in this game has dyslexia. Which is, it's always hard to know if it's on purpose.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
Oh!
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Or do I? 2845. Where is it? Oh god, I have to find it before I forget
Stanley
it.
just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Pirate-esque. I did say no spoilers, but the narrator is giving it. Dude, what the fuck? No shadow, it's true! I read that in chat, but it's true. That's weird. It's very dark. I die if I go here. Alright, fuck it. I'm dead. Oh. Oh.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
I guess I was addicted to pressing the numbers, the buttons. I'm coming out of an addiction, I guess.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Well, they say streamers never see the obvious things, but I do. I see it. Escape. It means if I press the escape button, I can go this way. I must admit, I am having second thoughts to this. What to choose. You know what? I think mind control can work. It can be nice. I have an idea.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Yes.
Did he have the strength to find out?
Yes, I do. Can I still go back? No, right? The doors keep closing. Don't let that make you think that I don't have the strength to find out. I was just checking all the options. Camera. And nothing. I think I'll press the camera.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
247, right? Was it 247? Right there. There's one that says 0. There's one above 001. Pirate? Pirate. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
No way.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
It's kind of like those people on Love Island, you know? They say that when a couple of people stay together with no other valid mate options, they can develop a kind of attraction to each other that makes them think that they would have fallen in love with each other under non-strenuous conditions as well. But at the end of the day, the more choice you have, the less easily you'll be satisfied with subpar mates. When they put like 10 horny people or 10 young people on an island, people end up making way more relations than they otherwise would. It's a kind of mind control too.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
All of our lives
Never.
are in
It was
someone's
unthinkable,
control.
wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
We all do. So watching Love Island is why the stream starts late. I'm not late. Read. My stream says starts at
But
6
here
to
was
9.
the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or
What?
sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible
We're gonna
power
destroy
over
it.
another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
It doesn't say those things though. Happy, sad. It all says offline. What? The thing he said is happening here is not the case. I can't destroy it because it's too dark. I don't have a hammer. Let's see. Number 5. Beep, 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 beep. Mind control idle, awaiting input. Why is it offline? Because I'm walking here? No, this is not just about me. Maybe I was supposed to keep walking and it thinks I'm here already.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place.
Yes.
And to everything it stood for.
Yes. We turn it off. We won? That's fast.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
Yes.
He had won.
We win.
He had defeated the machine, unshackled
Speedrun.
himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
See
even as the
inscription?
immense
It's not
door
that hard to
slowly
just let
opened,
someone win.
Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
True.
For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Excellent.
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
But this is not.
Stanley stepped through the open door.
But this is not how the outside looks like, though. It doesn't just begin. What door? It doesn't just begin where whatever this simulation is ends. This is another illusion. You don't even see the light from outside casting indoors.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon
Yeah,
his
sure.
skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to
You
happen.
must think I'm stupid.
And Stanley
I'm still
was
inside.
happy.
I should have taken escape, then I would have actually been out. Wait, beat the game, complete the Stanley Parable. I just got an achievement, beat the game. Well, I guess we go Battle for Middle-earth then. But
All
what,
of his co-workers were gone.
but what happened to the
could it mean?
co-workers?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nice trick. But the mysteries, though. Actually, I think it's kind of Giga Chat to actually go.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It's kind of Giga Chat to just let that be it and be ignorantly happy about it.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So, I could try every permutation of obedience and disobedience.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age
I'm
music.
getting punished by music. This is not calming! Let me go on! I do think he was talking about something new. He was talking about tearing
Soothed
tearing
and
through paper.
rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
He was talking about tearing through paper on my boss's desk. I think that was actually a new line, but I had already filled in the code. Deserved punishment. I could go up again. I think the up button was there.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office?
Well, maybe it would go somewhere
that's
else.
a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Well, let's see. Maybe it's different this time.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator.
Is it, though?
It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
You done? Yes, I've already opened it, so it didn't even trigger on 2845. Well, let's go down the elevator again. I think we've unlocked new endings.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
What will he do next?
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Ah, got him!
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
I wonder how many times we can keep doing this. Yo, what the fuck? It won't even let me press the button down anymore.
Oh my God. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me.
It sounds like
Give me a
Cinderella.
time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Oh, this is great.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for
Thank you.
gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Thank you. Surely I won't do it again. You know what's the crazy part? I don't even know if I'm gonna do it again.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it?
It's 50-50.
I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. It's
probably true for some of you.
Reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
That's right. That's right. And now we're all curious. How far can we go with this? Nothing? He says nothing?
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment.
Wait.
Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley.
What?
You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and
Yes.
anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
Yes.
Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked
Yes!
as loudly and frequently as possible.
The Fast
they
and
want
the Furious.
big, explosive moments flung right in their
No,
faces
the
from the
slow
very moment the
and
thing
the
gets
trepidatious.
started. But where's the tension?
I think this is still
Where's
too
the
fast.
trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal?
What do you think it's gonna be?
This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are
I
doing
think-
right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years.
I think there won't be
and
the
it's really
boss's
all
office
because of you.
once upon a
You're
time.
the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to.
Exactly.
We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive.
True.
That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley.
This is kind of real.
I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good,
What?
we're here.
It's not the boss's office! It's new!
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference
thought we were
should
in
be
New
just
Place
around
already.
the corner here somewhere.
World's healthiest human being. All tricks revealed. So it is salad then. Because I've been hearing a lot of different things. How we did it, the pyramids. What does this guy know about it? He don't look Egyptian. Live. The guy who went to Mars. Did he? Live on stage. All eyes on. I guess that's me. I guess that's Stanley. But he has a shadow here. The storyteller. Stanley reveals all in his new book. Press conference because I'm such a crazy revolutionary with the up-down elevator movement. We're a star now. All an evening with the world peace baby. Aw, this baby gave us world peace.
Ah, yes. Here it is, just through this door.
Alright. Oh, this door. World's first sentient machine. Really? Wouldn't it, like, hate life? It can't even move. It can just pinch things. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great to
All right,
stage.
are
Welcome,
you ready?
Stanley.
I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley.
Aw.
Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. I love the way you write elevators. Heart emoji. XX. Story. Stanley. Me. Dad. Age 6. Break a leg, champ. Your boss. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get him, tiger. Stanley. Heart emoji. My true love. For you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from the apartment. Your wife from the apartment ending. Break a leg, champ. Your boss. Wait, twice? It's a bit impersonal. Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from. Your co-workers. This is where I came from. The Scottish Highlands. The freedom ending. Wish you were here. Adventure awaits. I played the demo. I went to the mind control facility. Up again, down again. The Stanley story. Oh, truly riveting. Yeah, the boss wanted to break both of my legs. Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Okay. Cool. Cool. We really
All
made
of his
it that time.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So, I think this game is about finding as many different endings as possible. I don't think there's one victory condition. Contrary to what I believed 10 minutes ago.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Did I though? Okay, I did. I did. Aha! Now what? Hey.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
What if I don't? What if I just don't? I don't have to do what he says. Hey, hello.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet,
Yes,
but
there
there was
is.
nothing here.
Yes,
so
there
he
is.
turned around and got back on track.
Nope. Here's something here. That's...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, No path to follow.
I see what
just
this
an
is.
empty broom closet.
No, I'm gonna stay here.
No reason to still be here.
Not only am I gonna be here, but I'm gonna be here the rest of the game. This is so realistic looking, this
It was
tool.
baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Fuck all. That's true.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Because he keeps talking.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
At least
Maybe
it feels
to
safe.
you, this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Okay, I think the dyslexia is on purpose. The space, the exclamation mark 1,
Stanley
the
was
XD.
fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
Oh!
He probably only got
He
the
said the
job
soda
because of a
popping
family
line!
connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money.
The soda popping
Also, Stanley
line!
is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Stupid, fat, and ugly.
Well, I've come to
Holy
a very
shit.
definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities.
He's a bot.
It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics
That's very
and
fourth
filling
wall
them
breaking.
in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Well, I can't go now. I am curious what happens if I go out now. I'm too invested in this line now. Like, I invested a lot of time. But that might have been the final line that he'll actually give. I think that the likelihood that we're gonna get a follow-up line is dropping with every single second. I think it's going off a cliff. I could go out and in, yeah. I think there's less than 1% chance. But what about those really tenacious people that do this? They go away on their wireless headset and they go do the dishes for like 2 hours. And then 1 hour, 20 minutes in, they get rewarded with an orgasmic revelation that yes, this is the best ending. But I don't have 1 hour and 20 minutes. Or 2 hours. We'll go out.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
However, what if I go back inside?
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
I'll wait 30 seconds. But maybe this has no ending. No? Alright. I need to be sure. Okay. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Let's go downstairs. I found a note. But the note doesn't matter. Most things cannot be interacted with.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours.
True.
He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Yeah.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense.
That's
And
true.
as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
That's true,
And for
actually.
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Maybe I'm AI.
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
Yeah.
And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh. I was in a loop, by the way. That tunnel was a loop.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man.
So I am a man.
He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
Call ambulance,
the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
So I am real, unless he made that story up about Mariella.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Outside?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Am I real?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. Am I now stuck in this loop again? He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
This is such a long loop, though.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
All right, skip.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Well, the door...
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't...
Begin the game again. Because it's the same.
All of his co-workers were...
Wait.
No. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Is it because I restarted? I think it's because I restarted. There's so much paperwork everywhere. Weird.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well... this was different, but how does that modify the rest?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
work in insurance.
just to admire
this is a normal amount.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
It brings me up there. I'm
not
gonna
your
jump
enemy,
off on
really,
this bridge
I'm
this time.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
Grubby, have
is
you had
that the
much
story
office
has
work?
been about nothing but you
yeah,
all
lots.
this time.
I visited
There's
a
someone
couple
you've
of
been neglecting,
offices
Stanley.
as
Someone
a...
you've forgotten. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Danger
Give me a
everywhere.
chance.
I visited a couple of offices, Triada, as a pro gamer and as pro streamer. And so I've seen several different office spaces from the inside. It looks very nice. I'm very happy for everyone that works there. Lots of friends. Lots of productivity. Routine working hours. Gives a lot of
Now listen carefully, this is
assurance.
important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yeah, got him.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
You mad? There's... Wait, the blue door's behind me now.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well,
Yes.
don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because
Feels a
this
bit
is
like
what you
Portal.
wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help
Without the
elucidate these
gymnastics.
strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees?
Skill
Work with
trees.
me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback.
Yes, it sounds good.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Well, now that I have the option, I don't mind taking the left door. Please rate your...
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Is 1 better or 5? Because, like, in Dutch, 10 is the best out of 10. But I think in Germany, it's in reverse. In German, 1 is the best, right? Am I right? I think 5 is better on average. I'm gonna give it a 4. It'll never be a 5.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you.
Yes, more
If I can
options.
be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling.
3 doors
Here,
again.
Based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one.
Always
Let's
3
take a look.
doors. The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Good old Neil is offline. Skid. Nicho Nacho is offline. Vola is offline. Hogarth. Mr. Hayes Esquire. Did you know that 21.3% of players skip the intro sequence? Only the worst. This is you. How long does it take you to get to the correct door? You are objectively ranked last place. Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door. 99% of players are more attractive than Stanley. A dead rat. A dead rat. This is your superior. That's a rather large gap between last and second last. I don't believe you. Huh.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Whoa, 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 whoa! They had to make it really uncomfortable. Nobody wants to hear these terrible sounds. And so they know you're gonna let it die. But it's not because I'm evil. Okay?
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Yes and yes.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Stellar Blade.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
How does any of this say creepy? This is about trees, trucking, independence, freedom from society, the singular mind, the patriots, the birds of Wyoming, Sterilax. Alright, just because he has Sterilax here doesn't mean that there's anything to sterilize, like crimes or spillage or something. The National Forest of Wyoming. Lookout Cookbook. Chlortox. I don't know what Chlortox is. Chlorine? Dollar signs? Who fire watches the fire watch? That's not it. It's not. Who watches the watch? I went the wrong way. This is a real game. Oh, nice. Well, let's play it. So, I guess I have to put out fires on trees?
Oh, no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't
Rocket
any
League.
possibility that you could get lost here. Now,
That's what I thought when I saw the
is
stadium.
game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
But where's my car?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back,
Applebee's.
but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh, yeah. I'm fast. That's a nice looking ball. Yay! We're finally playing a good game. Goal! Oh,
Hold on. What are you doing?
damn it. Why did I fall in?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh, cool. I'm finally rid of him. Oh shit, I fell! Dude, I need to get back here and do it again. I need to do everything the same. How did I get here? There's so many more options to explore. Because I did like left. I never went through the fiery orange door. Oh shit. What is all this? 423. Oh, 423, 424. That's my room. I'm here without interference. 427. That's me. But nothing to interact with. Damn it. Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder
think
if
it was
he's
a
happy
timed
with his
event.
choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait. All of his co-workers were...
Wait.
No, this isn't the right office, is it?
Is this different
Is
too?
this Stanley's office?
What's wrong with this office? Or does he... Or does he always say that? Did he say that the first time? Hey! Hey! I turned off the PC, but it doesn't do anything. New content!
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
We're in new content, yay! DLC? This is so much like Portal.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful.
Awesome.
I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
It hasn't started yet.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Content, new content. Yay, we're gonna jump.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I have been trying to jump all game. But this is great content. Wow. You can jump now in the Stanley Parable. We shouldn't go through it. We shouldn't go through all of it immediately. I'll save some jumps for later.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Well, he didn't mention me not taking all the jumps, so I'll finish them.
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say,
Initial impressions of this game are not positive.
It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else.
Hold
Let's see
shift
it.
to run.
I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new That's it?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
But this is not my office. This is not really a restart. It's different.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something.
When I'm inside there, if something creeps up behind me, I won't be able to turn around well. Sounds hot. Coffee nut. If that's the only nut that creeps up from behind me, that'll be good.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
That's like Baldur's Gate 3.
Take a look.
Yay!
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want.
Yeah.
Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
What?
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something.
Yes.
Oh, the waste.
What happened to this authentic experience? Agile performance for an agile business. Deploy high-impact growth strategies. Dynamically streamline human capital. Today's best ideas. Today. World Class Award. Software Product of the Year. Everything you need to make great ideas even better. In today's busy world, it isn't easy managing an effective productivity workflow. That's why the Stanley Parable can help you streamline your workplace efficiency. With the Stanley Parable Advanced Computer System software, productivity loss and or efficiency gain becomes a thing of the past. And or efficiency gain becomes a thing of the past. At last, the power to convert ideas into action is at your fingertips. With the Stanley Parable at last. It's all in one box, and it's all been designed to fit with the way that you run your life into the ground to make money for someone else. At last. That's not as resoundingly popular. That's not as resoundingly positive as I thought it should be. Some of that was a bit dark. Audience Award. Very nice. Good times. I've seen most of these. Linguists identify 15,000-year-old ultra-conserved words. The Washington Post. Buy on Steam or download the demo free. 6 components of a great corporate culture. John Coleman. Harvard Business Reviews. Business bloggers at Harvard Business Review discuss a variety of business topics, including managing people, innovation, leadership, and business, and more. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. $1. The demo. Smile because it happened. Trip down memory lane. Good times. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Is that actually an achievement? Have some of you guys got this? Yes. That's so cool. And in fact, they changed it to 10 years. Yep, I got it. That's so cool. New video game releasing today. Creators surprisingly down to earth. Rutgers goes from scandal to new crisis. Colleges show uneven effort to enroll poor. Costs hinder new track to achieve diversity. Hey, no surprise. All the news that's fit to print. October 17th, 2013. Today, sunny, hot, humid. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy. 50% off designer hat, but a small creature owns the other half. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. In loving memory, little Stanley. Is that a cat or a dog? Looks like a dog.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
How do you review a game like the Stanley Parable? To describe any one part of it is to risk its ruination. To detail what it has to say about game design, the illusion of choice, and the psychology of the gamer is to tell you too much. Comparisons too are going to be woefully inadequate. Perhaps its closest cousin would be Dear Esther. But where Dear Esther wastes the form of interactive entertainment, Stanley Parable uses it and then subverts it. Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Even so, holding the game to the standards of any other title is simply not going to be correct. So, how do you review what has become known as the Stanley Parable HD, the full-scale reimagining of one of the most intriguing mods available online? How do you discuss it, analyze it, and recommend it? That's quite simple. You don't. What a preposterously pretentious review. Is this how they all write? They want to be. They want so badly to be original. It is more fun than just a regular review, though. Flawless victory. Games rated 10. Aren't perfect, since nothing is, but they come as close as you could get in a given genre. The new must-have game in its sector. We're talking pure ecstasy. Pure ecstasy? I think this is probably a real review. Very possibly the only one you guys have ever read. Check out more reviews or the Destructoid score guide. Wait, nobody shared this. It has 1 Google Plus. It has 1 plus on Google. No tweets, no Facebook shares, no Reddit shares, nothing. Just Google. Nobody uses Google. That's fake. Let's begin again. Up or down? Person of the year. Off on. Ah. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, well, well. It's never the end. This feels a little familiar. Or is it? Now there's posters of things I just saw in real life. In the game.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Ooh, big.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
I have always been someone who wants to go the wrong way first in games. When I sense that the game is trying to usher me down a particular path, to get me to run from left to right, or maybe to charge straight ahead, I need to satisfy my instinct to go against the grain, to explore, to see what the designers have put back the other way. I sometimes find a one-up or a collectible stashed away to reward me for my intrepid behavior. At other times, my explorations are rewarded only by the crushing disappointment of running up against an invisible wall. Whatever I find or don't find, my action is a manifestation of my desire to exert some independence, to make my own choices within a system that severely limits my options and encourages certain specific behaviors. The Stanley Parable feels alive in its responsiveness to your choices and its desire to subvert your expectations and keep you on your toes. I think of the Stanley Parable as a sort of video game analog for Charlie Kaufman and Spike Jonze's, yes, brilliant film adaptation, which gently mocked the ways in which so many films manipulate audiences with formulaic plot twists and situations in which characters learn huge life lessons, while simultaneously moving me with its formulaic plot twists and situations in which characters learned huge life lessons. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and in other systems too, like our workplaces and families, and a game that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices that I've ever been confronted with in a game. Going the wrong way has never felt so right. Super B. Spectacularly funny. Packed with meaningful choices that offer delightfully surprising results. Simultaneously incredibly smart and wickedly entertaining. But I don't see a way out this time. The serious room. Yes, I'm missing the door here, sir. That means I am scripted to go back through here.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back. To have it all over again?
Should have kept one jump, yep.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
The Steam Graveyard. It's the Steam Graveyard!
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Man, I feel bad for that guy. He had to read his own poorly reviewed opinion. Someone didn't like him, and then you get confronted with that on the internet. That is soul-crushing. Absolutely soul-crushing experience. Luckily, as a streamer, I never have to deal with that. But wonder what would happen to my fragile ego if that ever did happen. Well, luckily I'll probably never have to find out. Leastways, not today. Whew. How do you rate my playthrough so? No, that would be too easy. What's this?
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy
Noodle sheep in German.
I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening.
Cookie 9.
I wish there was a skip
10
button.
hours.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Guys, I'm not gonna skip him. I'm not one of those.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot.
No.
I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it.
Monkers.
It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is.
This is how
many
adult
billions
conversations
left until
on the
so
phone
much
used to
more
sound
than
like to me
forever
as a kid.
ago? Which is why I say,
the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years.
I think it was a little different.
Just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime.
I don't think it's a loop.
It's the only thing there is.
Because he didn't say we ate too much before.
Until so much more than forever ago. Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until
unless he says it again now.
We all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245.
And the number didn't change
the
too.
Logic of
Alright,
elimination.
fine.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy rumination. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you?
I just lost
but
content.
That's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps.
Wait, actually, he
to
might.
be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
I think you probably can.
I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. No, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
Yeah, great. And then? He has no more lines? Alright.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just...
It needs to have me press it
Out
again.
of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Yep.
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort or a window or... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
It's been weeks.
Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year.
Oh.
Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities.
The plant
I felt
died.
nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, What took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly.
Now
with a
I'm getting
collected
impatient
heart.
too.
It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously.
I'm gonna spam it now. Wait, there's nothing left. Okay, just joined. Does this narrator just keep talking? The game looks stupid. I would probably skip the commentator forever. Oh my god, you're the reason I was in this moment, bro. You're Cookie 9-1. You're Cookie 9-2. The clock fell.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulge in every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think. To feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it's ever said about me.
Negative review?
Perhaps
maybe
the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the...
That's the loop. That was great. That was a great commentary about no one in particular here. Not me, not any of you.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
He's losing it.
Is never the...
Still no door. It came out very slowly this time. That's what she said. Whoa! What's that? A tree? No. Oh, this is weaponized concrete. I don't know what you call this in English. In Dutch we call this weaponized concrete. Some metal bits in concrete. Reinforced. Ah. Reinforced. Weaponized. Gewapend beton. In Dutch it's called weaponized. It just means it's been armed. Like reinforced in essence. I can't go up, so I have to press skip again. Stahlbeton. Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, very nice. We need to wait for the further degradation of this until I can walk on that elephant trunk coming down, or if it's not his trunk, then... Oh, how lovely! How lovely! We're getting plant life. The world is healing. We just need more healing before we can go out. Oh, it's nighttime. Wait, what the hell? The trees are gone. What the hell? We skipped backwards? What? Isn't the button supposed to skip the narrator, but he's not saying anything? What are you skipping? Life. We're skipping life. I just heard a ghost. Lovely. Okay, the skip button broke. And it has been covered up again. That's weird. Oh, there's a hole on the other side. Society as we know it has crumbled. The world has reset. Dune Awakening. It's here. It's all sand and sun. It's the open world game you've always wanted. Yay. You can do anything. You're not forced to do anything. I'm still seeing more people here than in Dune Awakening. I think the game is fun with friends. Alright, this is great. Where shall we go? Is that it? The end is never the end. Oh my god, we're back. Ah, I forgot how I got there.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Alright, I think I've had like, what, 7 endings? I don't think there's one definitive ending, so I think you play it for however long you have the mood for in that moment. 7? I must have completed most of the game. Only 7? Maybe 10? 15? I don't know. How many endings have I had? Beep beep. 7 must be almost everything. Do you want to know how many there are in total? No, I'll talk with my mods. They're better at drip feeding information. May play again tomorrow. Oh, I can't do any more. GG's. This was sometimes boring, sometimes frustrating, mostly funny and interesting and mind-bending. I do not give it a 10, but I don't give it a 6 either. I think it's, yeah, it'll be more enjoyable with breaks. It was fun. Yeah, I think it was fun. I think it's very interesting, artistic, and subverting expectations. Yeah, I think is the game over? No, I think it's never really over. You can try to find many endings. But it's not supposed to be funny! 8 out of 10. Hopefully, we play again. Just don't... I'm not gonna give it a thumbs down. This was great. This was great. Guys, the Stanley Parable.